Welcome to Double Fries No Slaw. It's a Wednesday evening. We're doing a pop-up episode because we've got a special guest with us tonight. Myself, TJ Pittenger, Richie Barnes will jump right into it. We have FSU Legend, now PGA Tour golfer. Has that sunk in quite yet? But John Pock, Florida State, absolute legend, probably the best golfer to ever wear the garnet and gold. John, how you doing tonight, man? Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, no, we really appreciate your time. Appreciate you making some time to hang out. We thought it was a fitting week because it's the U.S. Open. Richie actually does a golf podcast, and I'm sure he'll bother you about later coming on as well. But no, we really appreciate your time at FSU and all you did for FSU athletics and golf specifically. So, but man, I'll start with this, and Richie's the golf guy, so I'll let him have it here after this one. But talk to me about your decision to go to Florida State. We were talking about it a little bit off air, just in you coming up. I believe you came up and visited for a football game, but you said coming to FSU was more than just coming up for a big primetime football game. Tell me about why you picked FSU, why you stayed at FSU, right, with the transfer portal and everything else. Like, what does Florida State mean to you, and why did you pick it?
Yeah, first and foremost, I love Florida State. The best decision I've ever made. I think the biggest thing was the coaching staff we have. I don't think if you don't know Trey Jones, he's came here 18 or 19 years ago and really turned this program around, and he's had so much success. You know, Jonas Blix, Brooks Koepka, Daniel Berger, like he's kind of groomed those guys, and I think he took a big role in why they're so successful today. And I thought that he every player that he got, he made them become a better golfer throughout college, and that's probably the main reason why I came to Florida State, just because of the coaching staff. You got Robert Duck and Matt Wall. They've all helped me, become the golfer I am right now. But alongside of that, the campus is beautiful. The Florida State has one of the best athletic programs in the country. I was recruited by, some of the other Florida schools, and you kind of, just with the football program, the basketball program, and you look at soccer and softball this year, there's just so much about the athletic program here that just makes you want to come here. And if you're an athlete, you want to be a Seminole. So that's probably the main reason I came to Florida State.
Yeah, and we're big proponents of all sports in this podcast. We have Lonnie with softball, Trey with golf, Jen with women's tennis. So we've had so many Ham with basketball, which I know you're a big fan of. But this week, I'm super excited. Like TJ said, I'm kind of the golf guy. I'm a huge golf fan. I cannot wait for primetime U.S. Open this week. But I want to talk about last year, man. You actually got to play in the U.S. Open alongside, the best players in the world at Winged Foot. You were the only amateur to make the cut and finished as a low amateur. Just what was that experience like as a Florida State golfer playing in the U.S. Open? That's a huge deal, man.
Yeah, so that was really exciting. I've never played in a PGA Tour event, so my first one being the U.S. Open, that's kind of hard to get around. But yeah, I learned a lot from it. I went up to multiple guys. I saw Tiger, saw Jordan Spieth, and who else did I see? Bryson DeChambeau. And I just walked up to everyone and asked, this is my first tour event, first major. Like, what's something I can learn from this? And, what's something you would tell me, or what's some advice you can give to someone like me? And basically, they all gave everyone out there is pretty nice, and they gave me their time and gave me some advice, and I thought that was really cool for them. So obviously I didn't play that great during the weekend, so a little disappointing, but I learned a lot from it. It kind of showed me that I can compete against some of the best players in the world, and it was an awesome experience.
Don't sell yourself short, man. You shot a 69 on the opening day, which is ridiculous at a U.S. Open. Like the other three majors, typically you see people go, 5, 6, sometimes 7 under par on day one. Not in the U.S. Open, but you win a 69. What was your mentality after that? Were you just like, man, did I just shoot a 69 at the U.S. Open on Thursday?
Yeah, I was pretty shocked myself. But I was playing with house money. I had nothing to lose, only had everything to gain. So, I played pretty open-minded, and I went with the mindset going there just to have as much fun as I can, and I think I did that. And usually, I play my best golf when I'm just enjoying myself.
Yeah, and it was funny. We had TJ mentioned we've had Trey Jones on the podcast a few times, and we had him on the like a couple days before the Fall Masters in 2020 with the weird COVID year. And one of the first things he wanted to ask about was your performance at the US Open at Wingfoot. And it was funny. He's like, no, he wasn't just happy to be there. He wanted to make the cut and have a chance to compete. Is that mentality kind of helped you get where you are now, where you have a full year exemption on the Corn Ferry, where you can earn your PGA card and be a mainstay on the tour in the very near future?
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Having PGA Tour is one of the best things, in college golf in the last however many years. Everyone's got something to play for. But yeah, I'm definitely just trying to go out there and, play with a very free mind. But obviously, I'm as competitive as it gets, and I don't like losing. So I try to, every tournament I show up to, I try to win. So, but if I don't play well, it's not the end of the world. I'm still young and I'm trying to learn every week. I play golf, and so I've been playing with the mindset to just enjoy myself. It's a long journey, and just have fun with it.
Yeah, man. And you wasted no time having fun, because as a terrible amateur golfer like myself, that I'm happy to hit the low 80s and, some days happy to just break 100. I just spent $500 on a new TaylorMade driver last summer. I'm always buying a bunch of Nike golf swag. Man, you just signed deals with Nike and TaylorMade. How's it feel to know you won't have to buy clubs or gear for the foreseeable future, and you have like the top golf brands in the world saying, "Hey, John Pock, we want to sponsor you"?
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I've been with TaylorMade and Nike I've been with TaylorMade since I was 13 years old. So they've been supporting me basically my whole career. Nike, I became a Nike athlete when I went to school here, and those are my two dream, companies I want to work with. TaylorMade, in my opinion, has the best products in golf, and then Nike has some of the best clothing in golf. And to have those two companies support me, that's really special. And I'm looking forward to working with them for now.
I know you're just starting your career, but when you dream and have aspirations of winning tournaments and majors and different things like that, I mean, obviously it'd be great to complete a slam, but if you were going to say, I want to win this major, what would it be?
It's 1000% the Masters. You
Yes,
can't.
yes.
I mean, I think if you ask any golfer, they're going to say the Masters, except maybe someone that lives in you know St. Andrews and the Opens at
Yeah.
St. Andrews. That'd be pretty special. But everyone wants to win a Masters. That's the real dream right there.
So real quick, if I could tell you 5 years from now, you're going to win the US Open and the PGA Championship, or you can just win the Masters. Are you taking the two majors or the Masters in that scenario?
The Masters for
let's
sure.
go.
Yeah, man, it's so prestigious and special. Like my wife hates Masters Week because it's always on our anniversary. We got married in April, and she's like, "Oh, I know what our anniversary is going to be. You're going to be on the couch drinking beer, watching the Masters."
My wife's birthday is always the weekend of the Final Four, and her parents always want to take us out to dinner on Saturday night. And I'm like, no, like we can go any other night, but the Final Four. So as soon as Florida State gets in there, I'm going to win that battle, but I haven't yet. Talking about being at Florida State, how busy you are, just like in different tournaments and playing, for the Knowles and for yourself, going off and doing other things and stuff that's not really part of the college. How difficult was it to stay plugged into the other sports? Like, did you have things that you enjoyed going to? I mean, everybody enjoys going to football and basketball games and stuff like that. And obviously this last year was pretty crazy, but did you have a sport that you really enjoyed going and watching that is kind of one of the underrated sports that people don't know about?
I didn't. I'm a huge basketball fan. like I said, if I was 6'8", I wouldn't be playing golf. I'd be playing basketball. But I'm not 6'8", and yeah, I went to maybe 5 games this year, and
Yeah.
then probably my best sporting experience was probably at the Florida State Louisville game last year, or was that 2 years
Oh,
ago? When
yeah, I know
Trent
what you're talking
Forrest
about.
and there was
Yeah.
just so many posters, and I was there, and it was electric in the stadium. The atmosphere, and it was insane. So I'm a huge basketball guy. I want to go to as many games as I can, but and the arena's super comfortable. You don't have to be at like the football game in the student section standing up. It's all sweaty and it's like 110 degrees. Sometimes I'm already outside all the time. I'd rather be inside the AC watching, some
Yeah,
guys shoot some hoops.
we had Trent Forrest on the podcast a couple months ago and talked about when he just absolutely posterized Jordan Nora
Yeah,
and how
He
insane.
was
the
so humble
arena.
about it. He was so humble about it too.
So
We're trying to get him to say something reckless, and he's like, "Yeah, I just kind of went up and I knew I had him." And I was like, "Bro, no, just like you dunked on him, bro. Like you'll be humble right now."
the day after that game, I was at the stadium eating lunch, and they showed it on Sports Center top 10 plays, and I guess the basketball team walked in, and everyone was like, "Oh, going crazy," and like Trent was there, and they're like like hyping him up. That was pretty cool.
I want to ask you about this and get your take on it, get your thoughts. I mean, you've been seeing this. I mean, it's another FSU legend, but you've been seeing this Brooks Bryson stuff, I'm sure, just like everybody else in the world has. We had, and you can say whatever you want here because we had Trey on, and I thought he'd be really like, or Coach Joe, I don't know what you call him, but like we had Coach Jones on, and I thought he'd be like real reserved about it or whatever, and he was pretty funny. Like he just said, like, well, no, we talked with him right after what was it, Richie, the PGA Championship where he finished,
Yeah.
a stroke back in second place, and
when the interview leaked with Brooks being like, "Oh, this effing guy,"
keep it on the line, And so we asked Coach Jones, like, hey, have you chatted with Richie? Asked this, not me. I wasn't getting cussed out, but he said, have you chatted with Brooks since that? And he said, no, I'm giving him a little space, which is probably what Bryson should have done if he knew him well enough. So I don't want to get you in too much trouble, but any thoughts on the whole Brooks Bryson thing? Like, are you enjoying it like the rest of us are?
Yeah, I am. I think it's pretty hilarious that people are calling Bryson Brooksy and getting kicked out.
I love it.
Hilarious.
I love it.
But to be honest, if I'm Bryson and someone's yelling someone else's name when I'm making a putt or something, I'd be pretty annoyed too. But
yeah.
I think it's hilarious. I think I'd probably handle it a little better. I wouldn't get so upset. Like stuff like that really doesn't bother me. I really, yeah, I wouldn't care too much, but I think it's hilarious. I thought Brooks doing that video of giving people, a case of Michelob's, that was a big baller move. So I think the whole situation is pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, while we're on the subject of Brooks, I just want to bring up because a lot of the more traditional golf fans are not a big fan of what's going on with all this stuff right now. Younger guys like myself, I'm all in. I love it. We have the player impact program. Brooks, he's going for his share of the $40 million. But one thing a lot of people did not talk about, but Florida State and Florida State golf social media specifically promoted, man, you cleaned up on all the postseason awards this year. You got the Hogan, you got the Haskins, you got the Nicholas, and you got to go to Jack's place at Memorial to accept the Nicholas on a private jet that Brooks kind of funded for you. How cool is that a former number one and still one of the best players in the world who played where you played college golf said, hey, man, I'm gonna send you guys up in style. That was just the coolest thing I think I've seen this year.
Yeah, so I think that's another big thing on why I came to Florida State is we're like a family here, and I feel like I had the chance to play with Hank Lebioda last week at my first tour event, and he's another guy that was just so awesome and nice, and it really shows that when you come to Florida State, you're once a Seminole, always a Seminole, and I'm still living in Tallahassee right now, and I can go up there. I see Coach, I see all the guys at the club that support FSU, and they're all super nice to me and still supporting me, even though I'm technically no longer on the team. And I think that's a pretty cool it's really cool that just because you went to the same school, people still support you, and you just have you know, a relationship with them, even if you haven't met them before.
Yeah, and man, it's wild because Brooks was great at Florida State, but he had to grind over in the European Tour for a while before he could even think about getting the PGA Tour. You're going straight to the Corn Ferry, which is really cool, man. I'm excited. I mean, they're big fight on the Corn Ferry Tour this week. We won't get into that, but I do want to add.
Right? I did hear about that.
Actually, I do want to ask about that now that you've heard about it, man. So I want to hear your thoughts on this. So for the listeners. There was a golfer. He got really mad at a golfer he was playing with. He had an errant tee shot, couldn't find it. There was pace of play issues. Then it turned out that the one that hit the errant golf shot on 7, I believe, went back to the player who had his dad on his bag and said, basically, "Oh, you can't help me look for my golf ball." And they said, "No, we're not looking for it." And then as they're going to the next tee box, they jumped him, like punched him up, beat him down. It made him say "uncle." Like, have you ever seen anything like that on a golf course? We're not even talking like Corn Ferry where you're trying to get on the PGA Tour. This is your livelihood, but this is just, I've played hundreds of rounds. I've never seen anything like that in my life. When you saw that story, what were your thoughts? And have you seen anything like that close at all in your life?
I thought it was pretty hilarious that
I did too.
On the Corn Ferry Tour qualifier. Yeah, my caddy, who's also one of my best friends, just like we were practicing one day, and he was just like, "Some guy just got arrested on the Corn Ferry Monday." I was like, "What are you talking about? No way!" Because for the most part, like golfers are usually like really reserved, good dudes. Like that,
it's chill like, people. Yeah,
it's part of the game of golf. Like you got to be honest. It's just you don't see a lot of cheating and a lot of like sketchy moves. Like I guess in basketball, soccer, and football, like you're trying to get away with, I guess you can call it cheating, fouling. So in golf, you can't get away with it. It's if you ever cheat, that'll stain your name forever. And you don't really see that in golf. So I personally never really had an opportunity to witness anything like that, but I just thought it was hilarious.
I just saw the headline and I was like, what the heck is going on the Corn Ferry? Then I saw it was a qualifier for the Corn Ferry. So I'm like, all right, it takes a little bit off. And the USGA came out in a hurry and said that neither one were permanent members of the Corn Ferry Tour, et cetera. But I do want to get back into you growing into your love for golf. You talk a lot about basketball. Was golf always your first sport, or did you I know you said if you were 6'8", you'd have played basketball, but how would you end up committing to golf? Because obviously whatever you did, it paid off.
Yeah. So I started playing golf when I was like 7 years old. My oldest brother picked it up when he was 15, and I followed shortly after. And I guess it was kind of one of those things, I grew up in a Asian household, and my dad was pretty strict on, practicing. So he pushed me pretty hard, but, I wouldn't be here without him. And I guess it's kind of funny. I guess my older brother wasn't quite good enough to play in college, and he was like, "All right, we'll go with the youngest one. Let's see what he's got." And I started getting pretty good. And then when I was like 13 or 14, I think that's when I started to realize like, oh, I mean, maybe I've got a shot at doing this for a living. And then my dad kind of saw some potential in me, and then we moved down to Florida when I was 15. And it was tough when I was younger, because when you're not playing good golf and you're trying to do it for a living, it's pretty stressful and discouraging, and like, you don't want to do it anymore. But then like once you hit that spurt and you start playing some really good golf, it becomes a lot of fun. And then I started really enjoying it, and I was like, yeah, I should try and do this for a living.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I read something where you were hitting like 800 to 900 balls a day on the weekend. That's ridiculous. That's like me going out and playing 10 rounds, shooting 90 in one day, which I can easily do. I promise you. But what's that grind like? Especially, I focus on basketball in high school, and my dad, like, I get home from school and he's like, you need to shoot 100 free throws before you can come back in the house and have dinner. And I'm like, really? Like, and he's like, and you need to make 60 to 65 of them. I'm like, oh, okay. Is that kind of like what you were like? And obviously I'm not in the NBA. So whatever your dad did worked out a lot better than what my dad was doing.
Yeah, it was this golf range in New Jersey because in winter times I can't practice my short game because it's so
Yeah.
cold. There's snow on the ground sometimes, and there are these heated bays that I'd hit out of. And on Saturday and Sunday, before 10 a.m., there was like a special golf ball deal where you get a certain amount, and I think it was 250 or 300. I can't remember, and it'd be in this giant bucket, and I'd get there at around 9:45, just in time before to get the special deal, and I'd be there till like 7 o'clock, just beating golf balls in one little hitting bay. Yeah, it was brutal. My dad doesn't know this, but whenever he would look away, I'd take a couple balls and just throw them on the range. It was brutal, man. Just to 900 golf balls is a lot of golf balls. So
That's a
yeah.
that's a ton, man. That's a lot. As someone who shoots a lot of shots on a Saturday, not even at the range, that's a lot.
Talk to us like about, obviously you won some major awards this year. Talk to us about the kind of cleaning up during awards season and kind of what that meant to you. A career that obviously worked so hard in your career and hit so many golf balls on the weekends and just kind of worked your tail off. And then you kind of pulled you got here just after he left, but you kind of pulled the Jameis, right, where you win like every major award to finish up a career. What was that like?
Yeah, that was really special. I feel like being at Florida State, if you don't know me, like I love being a Seminole. I love Florida State, and I felt like I wanted to do something special for the program. I want this place to be a place where, golfers and junior golfers and recruits want to come to because they know you can become one of the best golfers in the world. Like I think Brooks Koepka has proved that. And, I feel like it was really special because, I think no other Florida State golfer's ever done any of these things. And I just wanted to prove that to other people that Florida State is one of the golf programs and is going to become one of the best programs in the years coming. And it did shock me a little bit because I don't know if you know the Hogan Award and how it works, but they keep it very quiet and no one knows who's going to win. Like they had an envelope at the dinner or the lunch table, and they kept it very secret. And I was actually really shocked that I won it, and it did surprise me because my main focus was to win a team national championship. So, but to win those awards, yeah, that was really special, and I'm glad I did because I feel like that will help the program out in the future.
What is it like? I mean, you said for the non-golfers, right? For me and anybody else who's not as major into golf as Richie is, no pun intended there using the word major, but
no, you can count me because I'm still struggling to break 90, so I'm in your boat.
Yeah, if I can break 100 though, I'm in a great shape. So when you play ball, you play basketball, so you kind of know this. And I mean, just watching FSU over the last couple of years, watching any kind of NBA stuff, whether it's like Durant last night going crazy or whatever.
God.
But like, is getting into a zone like out on the course? Obviously, it's different because you don't, like you're not running up and down the court like slamming on somebody's head or knocking down a turnaround three at the buzzer like LeBron against the Warriors or whatever. But like, what does it feel like when you're in that zone, and how different is it? Because again, you're like, you're the reserved guy on the golf course, right? Like you're not dunking on somebody's head that's 7 foot tall.
Yeah, so no, I've actually kind of experienced that a little bit. I played in the Walker Cup in 2019. If you don't know that, it's like Great Britain and Ireland versus America, like kind of Ryder Cup format for amateur golfers. And I was one down with two to play, and I won 17 to get to all square. Then 18, I had like a 9-footer, and And I was locked in. I was like in the zone. Like I want to win this match. And like, it's just like I don't know how to describe it, but your head's in a different spot. And then I made like a 9-footer on 18 to win the match, and I threw a massive fist pump and like screamed to my teammates. So golfers do go through that. I feel like, like that Justin Thomas. No, who was it in the Ryder Cup? Patrick Reed versus Rory or something. Where do you remember what I'm talking about? Or
Yeah, that got
yeah,
got
where they both
intense.
shot like 9 or 10 under,
Yeah,
and like, golfers, they get in that
yeah,
zone, and like, he shushed the crowd, and like it
yeah.
happens a lot, or it happens every once in a while in golf.
Yeah.
Man, the Ryder Cup is on my bucket list, but I want to go when it's in America. Like I want to be there when it's on our home turf, so I can be a part of that.
Yeah.
That's just something, man. It's so special to watch. You hear, the U.S. fans in Europe, singing the Backstreet Boys talking about "I want Pat Cantlay" instead of "I want it that way." It's amazing stuff. I love it. The last few things, and we'll get you out of here. And thank you so much for your time. But when we had Meat on the podcast, Mike Martin Jr., and we were asking about Brooks a little bit. He's like, "Yeah, Brooks, you'd be surprised. He was obviously one of the best golfers to come through Florida State, but he would come to our baseball practice and take batting practice with us." Did you ever, I know you're a basketball guy. Did you ever call Coach Ham and say, "Hey, can I come to shoot around with the boys?"
No, I did not do that. I know Coach Jones has a really good relationship with Mike Martin.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's how they kind of swung that. I think we used to do like a little baseball thing with like, the golfers play baseball and the baseball players play some golf or something. We don't do that anymore. I think someone may have like gotten hit in the head or something. I don't know. But we had some unathletic golfers on the team a couple years ago, and they didn't know how to play baseball. So, but anyways, yeah, that would have been so cool to go to the arena and shoot some hoops out there, because we've got a good amount of like basketball fans on our team. So that would have been sick.
Yeah, and anyone who listens to this show knows I am the biggest Leonard Hamilton advocate in the world. Like we had the fortunate time to interview him on this podcast, and I was like a fanboy. Like, wait, is this really Leonard Hamilton? Like now, I almost feel a little bit that way with you, John, because I feel that you're going to be a mainstay on the PGA Tour. I'm super excited to watch you on the Corn Ferry and eventually in the PGA. We got Berger, we got Brooks, we got Jonas Blix. We got a lot of Florida State players making noise on the tour right now. I think it is absolutely awesome. I think you represent the game very well. I just cannot wait to see you and progress in your career. And with that, I'll throw it to TJ to close it out.
Man, yeah, John, we appreciate it a ton. If you need us to hook you up with getting some shots up on the court the next time you're up in Tallahassee, I don't know how many times you plan on getting back up there. I know you're about to be really busy, but we'll see what we could do. Maybe at least get like a 3-point shootout between
you and Richie to save my life. And
see,
I'm not tall, so
I like the humility.
I've got nothing going for me.
That's me on the golf course. I can't shoot to save my life, but I still go out every weekend, so it's okay.
We've been Richie's been making some big challenges and stuff. Like he talked about taking batting practice for some of the girls when Lonnie was on the last time. Like I'd love to see Sandercock strike him out. And then we had Coach Hyde on women's tennis, and she said like she'd like to see if Richie could return just one serve with some of her girls out there. So if you're going to be in Tallahassee Labor Day weekend, I don't know if there's a tournament or not that weekend, but like we'd love to get you and Richie out on the golf course just so you can embarrass him like everybody else is going to up at Florida State that weekend.
I think we need
awesome.
I think we need a par 3 closest to the pin challenge. But I need at least 2 shots to your 1. So there's no way I'm gonna beat your 1 shot.
Deal. I'll do it.
and if you win, I'll buy you Guthrie's. If I win, I want some Nike or TaylorMade swag, man. I'm telling you, I need that.
I'll get you a driver or something.
Oh, give me that Sim 2. Give me the Sim 2 because I still have the M2.
Oh my goodness, John Pock, thank you so much for taking some time. I know you're busy. I know you got a lot going on, but thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're excited to follow your career. I wanted to ask you that too. Did you know that you have like a POC tracker?
Yeah,
I know,
I
like
saw
what?
that.
How? Okay, so like
I
you've
have
seen
no
like.
idea who that is.
Well, we're
So
trying
we do.
to.
We have an idea.
We're trying to work
really?
with him. We're trying to work with him. Like like to. So we got a website that we've started writing some stuff. We tracked you on some different stuff when you were in a couple of different things and in the
Meadow,
ACC. Yeah. So anyway, we're trying to work with him, but. I mean, you've seen like the Brooks tracker and the Tiger tracker. How cool was it when you saw that? Were you like,
That was really cool.
Like, what in the world?
Right?
You guys know who it is?
Yeah, we don't know him personally, but we are in contact with him, and we are going to be working with him moving forward.
Yeah.
So now, John, unfortunately, you came in the spot. You have to be a recurring guest. Anytime we request you, you have to come on the podcast now.
Yeah, no.
Sounds good.
No, we're gonna talk with him this week about maybe writing a little bit for the website. He'll probably want to keep his anonymity, but if you want to know who it is, shoot us a message and we'll tell you who it is.
Perfect.
You can't tell.
Sounds good.
Hey, thanks again so much for hanging out, man. We're excited to see your career as it gets started and gets taken off here. But man, thanks so much for your time, bud. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I really enjoyed that.
Of course.
All right, man. You have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
All right, buddy. John Pock, FSU golf legend, and now
Another
professional
legend.
golfer, right? Yeah, incredible. So, man, that was fun. He was a lot of fun. I'm excited to watch him. I'm excited to see, like I just told him, like his career take off and kind of go and grow. But that pot tracker is cool.
I really do think he's going to be big time on the tour, though. I'm not saying this as a Florida State guy. You think about Matt Wolf, who just graduated last year and ended up in the match this past year during the pandemic and blowing up on the tour. I really think John Pock is going to be that guy where he is going to blow up on the PGA Tour. It may not be this year or next year. It takes experience playing with the best in the world on the toughest courses in the world, which is what he's stepping himself into. But man, he's got all the tools to be a top tier golfer on the PGA Tour. Super excited. And the fact that he's a Seminole makes it easy. He's probably my second favorite active golfer on the tour right now behind Brooks. Obviously, whenever Tiger comes back, he's number one for me. But it's going to be Brooks and John Pock right below that for me.
For years, too, because who knows how long Tiger has left with it. But he's awesome. And he was a lot of fun too. Like he was, he wasn't just a lot of times your interviews can be kind of, I don't know. I think people feel like they can kind of cut loose with us at times because we're not so stiff like some of your stuff. But he was a lot of fun too. I think it was fun chatting with him.
Yeah. I think it was the perfect combination between obviously very polished interviewer or interviewee, but also reading the room and saying, okay, I got two normal dudes here. Let's just have a fun time. So he's got that perfected already. I think he's only 22 years old. So that's impressive. Because if you had interviewed me at 22 years old,
oh my gosh,
I probably would have been drunk at Potbellies at 2:00 on a Thursday and got canceled for all the wrong reasons. So good to see a guy like John Pack. And I love the story about his dad pushed him. He wasn't really feeling it, but now he looks back and says, man, I'm glad that happened because he knows he wouldn't be where he is now without his father. And with Father's Day weekend coming up, that's just a really cool story. So nothing but best wishes to John Pock on the Corn Ferry and eventually as he becomes a regular on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we appreciate him coming on. We didn't say at the beginning of the show, but obviously we appreciate Guthrie's and their support. You can visit both their locations at 1818 West Tennessee Street and 2550 North Monroe. Still have the giveaway going on. If you go to Guthrie's in Tallahassee and tag us in your order, you get entered to win a Yeti cooler. Also, if you tell them Double Fries No Sauce sent you, you get a free drink. And that's the two locations in Tallahassee. Go check out our website. We've got some cool stuff dropping. We have a countdown piece dropping tomorrow. Tomorrow is 80 days until FSU football season. So we all kind of give our top players to wear a number 80 jersey. It's anywhere in the 80s, not just the number 80. So 80 to 89.
And I have the rawest player in FSU history.
Oh my gosh, the dad jokes the week of Father's Day, just no limit.
Without kid, I'm making dad jokes.
Don't say that around Lindsay. She'll get the dog counts.
Man, she'll come after me.
But check out the website doublefriesnoslaw.com. We have had some fun stuff up there. We try to keep the website much like the podcast, pretty loose, pretty fun. And just kind of give you our takes on some different things, Florida State related. we may have another one of these pop-up shows popping up. I didn't mean to say it twice like that, but we may have one of these popping up later this week. So kind of stay tuned to your feeds. Appreciate the support. Do you have a song for us, Richie, Harlan? Anybody got something for us? Anything golf related? I don't know if that. We'll talk about it off air. Until next time.
Give me heading back to Cali.
We'll do it.
Or taking it back to Cali, whatever it is. That's how you know I have no idea what I'm talking about.
California Love by Tupac. All right, very good.
There you go.
No, I'm just playing.
No, with the U.S. Open in San Diego, California.
Right.
We're going with that.
Man, I'm excited for your updates this week for Koepka's run starting tomorrow. So
on the website, I will be updating Brooks Koepka and Daniel Berger. I don't want to forget Daniel Berger, another Florida State guy that John Pock mentioned. He's also in the U.S. Open. He's a long shot, but if he's making a charge, we will have updates on him. I promise you that.
So we will keep you updated there until either our next pop-up episode or when we come back on Sunday evening for our regularly scheduled show. We'll see you guys next time we're on again, probably tomorrow or Friday. We'll have a pop-up episode. So enjoy that. Look out for that. Richie, thanks for hanging out. Harlan, thanks for all you do behind the scenes. And we'll talk to you guys next time. Go Noles.